Luis from RiskReview.com, here welcoming you to another episode of my podcast and video podcast for my YouTube channel. On this episode, I want to talk a little bit about my favorite songwriters. Now, this list is a little different for what I consider my favorite artist, because not necessarily my favorite artists are on this list. Maybe because they have various songwriters, maybe because I would think the main fact would be that they have a lot of different songwriters that are not even in the band. Like for instance, I think Guns N' Roses has a lot of outside writers with them on some music. Anyway, the fact that I want to say is that these are people who I most admire. Is the words. I think they have true ability to not only write hit songs but to write all kinds of songs. And I think they have the ability to write songs that, for me, we are able to relate to. We are able to express some kind of our feelings through their music. And for me, that I've always looked for that because I've always been kind of a quiet person, and I usually kind of use music to outlet things that I wish to say or whatever. So I look for that in a lot of my favorite artists and my favorite songwriters. So this is a list where I'm just going to mention a few of them and mention a few of my favorite songs from the artist. I'm only mentioning 11. I'm sure there are a lot more, but these are my favorite 11. And if you want to share yours, you can do it in the comments. I think that's the great thing about music. We all have different artists who we can relate to what they're saying and the words. And this is not a list of, oh, this is the ultimate best. No, these are just the ones that speak to me more. I just wanted to share it and just talk a little bit about them. Not necessarily in order. I'm just going to mention the 11. Okay, so the first one I want to mention, number 11, Mr. Tom Petty. I think Tom Petty is a rare artist in a way because I think he can write a good rock and roll song, a good love song, I think he has great lyrics. I think he has the ability to write great lyrics. For me, Tom Petty, of course, I knew him because he was big in the MTV era. I was surprised to see he came from the 70s. As I discovered more of his music. I knew him because of Free Falling. That song was huge. And the Traveling Wilburys in the 80s. Into the Great Wide Open. A lot of good songs. But his songs in the early years, were also great. The Waiting, American Girl. So he has a huge backlog of songs. And he's a great songwriter. And he is surely missed. When it comes to Tom Petty, my favorite 5 songs, of course, Free Falling. I think that song is just so catchy. And sometimes I don't even know what the chorus and the verses relate to, but it doesn't matter. When it comes to the chorus, we're all singing our hearts out, free falling. I'm free. Just like Tom Cruise in the movie Jerry Maguire, where he's in the car screaming the chorus. I think I've done it, so I'm confessing. The other one, Won't Back Down. That's such an amazing song. And I think he co-wrote it with Jeff Lynne, but I think the lyrics are all Tom's. Won't Back Down. That's such a statement. Such a, it is a great, great track. And of course, for me, Walls. I love that song because I felt like I could have written that one. I think it's a great lyrics, and it's from the movie She's the One, but the song is just amazing. Best of Everything is one of my favorite in terms of the lyrics. I just love the lyrics on this one. The when he says that the good moments, the bad ones take forever, and the good ones, they just never seem to last. This one has great lyrics on it, and All the Wrong Reasons. This is an album track. I think it's from the Southern Accents album, And I just love the melody and I love the words. It's just great work, a great work. For my next band, number 10, the Bee Gees. Now, this band, as we all know, I think takes a lot of heat, mainly because of their disco years. But if you look beyond that, you will see a band that went through decades and they evolved, they changed genres, and in each genre they played, they were successful. So you have to hand it a little bit of credit in terms of that. And I think that the Maurice, Barry, and Robin uh, were are great songwriters. I mean, they wrote for other people, they wrote for themselves, and when you listen to the music, I mean, not all of them, but the vast majority of the songs are good. Now, um, I'm rediscovering them in a way because of the documentary on HBO, and I saw it, and I have to admit that uh, whether you uh, whether you hate them for the disco thing or whatever, they were good songwriters. And Robin Gibb has one of the most amazing, effective voices. And if you see the songs I'm going to mention, most of them, I think Robin is the main voice or has such an important moment in the song that just, I think he gets to me in a way. So when it comes to the Bee Gees, I can say that For Whom the Bell Tolls. I recently heard that song again through the documentary, and the first time I heard it, I just kept hearing it because, again, when Robin gets to the chorus, it's such the voice and the words for me they just were so great. Um, if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. First of May. This one is I think it's from the '60s. I think the nostalgia behind the lyrics and the melody, they just work so well. I started a joke again, Robin. It's such a beautiful lyric. It's such a beautiful song. Massachusetts and Staying Alive. Those are my five favorite Bee Gees track that I can say right now. So moving on, Bruce Springsteen, number 9. Now the boss, as it's called. For me, Bruce is more of a greatest hits for now because I haven't listened to all his records. Now I discovered a lot of new tracks through the movie Blinded by the Light, and I have to say that he is a true poet and he writes songs that I think every working man could relate. I think he has lasted for so long. He has so many albums that it would take a lot of time to really discover all his work. I started and I got to a few of his first records, which I think were great. And one of my songs on the list is an album track. I think he has a great ability to write good pop songs, but he also could write meaningful songs like Philadelphia, which is a great track. Um, a lot of good songs. For me, when it comes to Bruce, I think Thunder Road has to be his masterpiece for me. I love the desperation in the music and the words. That we got to get out of here. It's just, I think it's an amazing song with no chorus, just lyrics from straight to finish. An amazing song, and I think the way he recorded it is just perfect. Just like Band on the Run, which is my second favorite. Again, I think he was really going through a lot when he wrote those songs. He knew that he had to make it, and I think that desperation reflected in the songs that he wrote. And Band on the Run is another one. Great lyrics, the melody. I mean, it's just for me a perfect song. Now, the third one that I like the most is Racing in the Streets, which is an album track. I don't remember the title of the album, but I think it's his third record. Dancing in the Dark. I know it's a little bit poppy, but if you look behind the pop essence, the words are just great. I mean, I want to change my hair, my face. These guns for hire. I mean, it's great words on it. And Glory Days. I think that song means more now that I'm older. But it's always been a great rock and roll track with great words on it. So now I'm going with number 8. Number 8 is a collaborating team, which is Bernie Taupin and Elton John. Now, Elton does the music, Bernie does the lyrics, but you can't mention just Bernie because the work Elton does to those words, it's what makes them more powerful. because you can have good words, but sometimes if the melody is bad, then the words are just not maybe gonna come through to the audience. And this is why I think these two guys is amazing what they do. I heard a documentary where Elton was writing the music while Bernie was writing the lyrics at the same time, so that's amazing. And they have lasted for so long, which is something that's amazing in this line of work in the music business when you see people working up fast and all that. I think they have a lot of good songs, and it's hard to pick, but my picks maybe are weird. The first one is House from Made in England. That song to me is just so beautiful, the music and the words, and again, very poetic, very maybe symbolic in what he's saying and what he's representing. I don't think it's about a physical house. I think he's talking about his heart, his inside. This is my house, and it's a beautiful song. The music and the performance are great. My second favorite song is from Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and it's a song called Roy Rogers. I love it. I am a superhero fan, and I could relate to what he's saying. I mean, for Bernie, maybe his hero was Roy Rogers, and what he's talking about, it's just when you're tired or have so many situations in life, you just want your favorite superhero, your favorite TV show, to take you on an adventure. You know, you can get your sandwich, like it says in the lyrics, and just relax and just get your mind out. And that's what I used to do that, I think, with Spider-Man. I mean, when I saw those films, I could go flying on every building like he did and just leave every care behind. And I like that they expressed that in this song so beautifully. And it's such a charming performance by Elton John vocally. My third favorite song is Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Amazing lyrics. And I think what Bernie was amazing to do is that he could write what Elton John was going through in his life. And that's something to say about their friendship. Because I think that some of the songs, like Someone Saved, Bernie was not the one who got saved. It was Elton. But he was able to put in words what Elton was feeling at times. And I think this song might have been about Bernie, or might have been about anyone, but the words are just so great about people like I could. People could misread my silence or whatever. And this is what the song is saying: don't misread what you're seeing. Because there's a lot more going inside, and it's begging, please, just don't let the sun go down. It's just an amazing track. My fourth is Sacrifice. It's a song from, I always forget the title, Sleeping with the Past. It's a good album. And I always loved that song. I've always loved it. And this is a new one I discovered. My fifth song is Wait in the World from the album Peachtree Road. It's a great record. I don't think it is very known or whatever, but I think it's a good track. And moving on, I'm going with another piano maestro with Billy Joel. Billy Joel, the piano man himself. Amazing career. I don't know why he stopped writing, but he just decided. And his famous last words is his last song that I know. I don't think he's performed any new songs with lyrics. I know he's composed melodies and stuff, but I'm talking about lyrics. I've always liked Billy Joel. I like his style of writing. I like his style of singing and performing. For me, my favorite track is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. It's a cool little track where I think he took bits and pieces and put them together. And I like that. I like the difference in melody. I like I like the words. I like the story. Of course, you gotta mention Piano Man. That song is just so moving. She's Always a Woman to me, another great track. I love These Days from Turnstile. Beautiful song. Man, that song always gets to me. And The Entertainer, I love that track because it's a nice little subtle way of talking about the music industry. It's such a great track, great lyrics, fast paced, and every lyric is just, I think it's great. But you have to mention a few more. Say Goodbye to Hollywood, what a song. He has so many. And So It Goes. Great artist, great lyricist. Moving on to number 6. I'm gonna mention George Harrison, the third one from the Beatles. The Quiet One. He really started out and he developed quickly, I think, and he ended up writing in Abbey Road, I think, the best songs ever in something. And my favorite from George, Here Comes the Sun. I mean, that song I could hear it endlessly because it's such a perfect blend of lyrics and music. And the lyrics, they're so simple. Sometimes the simplest words just can reach so deeply. But you have to mention, of course, All Things Must Pass. I think that's such a beautiful song. Any Road, which is from my last record. I love Mystical One from Gun Trouble. Fish on the Sand from Cloud Nine. Isn't it a Pity from All Things Must Pass. But George has a lot of deep songs that when you listen to them, I think you get something out of what he's saying. And he's a great artist. He's a great melodist. I love that about George. So moving on, I'm going with I think the only one on my list that you can say is current, and it's Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. Now Eddie Vedder is a true lyricist in the sense that when he first started, he just wrote the lyrics, and the bandmates wrote the music. Now that evolved, and it got to the point when he wrote music and lyrics for some of the songs. But I'm gonna focus on his lyrics, in terms of Eddie Vedder. This guy for me is a great poet, great songwriter, and from the first album 10, I got his words, and from the whole alternative scene, to me, he's the best one. Sorry, Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell's great, of course, Kurt Cobain, but the one that I always liked the most was Eddie Vedder. I love his lyrics. You got songs like Jeremy, made that song powerful. Release, also from 10. Future Days, Lightning Bolt. Wish List from Yield. Unknown Thought from Backspacer, great song. Come Then Goes is from the new record, a great song. So, I think Eddie just, for me, if you could have like a spokesman for a generation, he would be mine. I think I could relate to some of his views, not all of them. But I think he's a great lyricist, and he could write a good rock song, but he could also write great, meaningful songs. And I think he's just a great poet. I really, really love his music. I really do. So number 4, this one to me is like the Bee Gees, maybe because it's not a band that I publicly say that I like, but I admire them. It's ABBA, and of course I'm talking about Bjorn and Benny Anderson. They are the songwriters of the group, and if you listen to their music, they have great lyrics. They could write a great pop song. When you think about, and I know, look beyond the Mamma Mia film. Just hear the words to them. I mean, my love, my life. The original version, the movie version is beautiful, but I'm talking about the original version. It's one of the most amazing breakup lyrics. The winner takes it all. They just have a lot of good songs, and I have to be honest, I love Dancing Queen. I don't know why, but I love it. There's something in the song that I love it. And I hate it. I'm not a dancer. I hate disco, but I just love that song. I don't know, something about it. I think it's haunting. Slipping Through My Fingers is a beautiful song. I have a daughter, so every time I hear it, I just think of her. And when all is said and done, another song that they wrote when they were breaking up. It's amazing words. And The Way Old Friends Do is, I think, it's a live song that I heard on one of the records, and I love it. Number 3, Paul Simon. Okay, so Paul Simon to me, it has to be the greatest American, for me, songwriter, maybe next to Bob Dylan. I love his sensibility. I love his poetry. I love that he loves to explore different music, different melodies. And when you think of Paul Simon, of course, you have to think of Simon and Garfunkel. Bridge Over Troubled Water is, for me, it's one of the most beautiful songs ever written. The Boxer, again, amazing. American Tune, beautiful song. Me and Julio by Schoolyard, cool, fun track. Kathy's songs has to be one of the most beautiful love songs that I think I've ever heard. There are a lot of great songs by this guy. I mean, I love Paul Simon. So moving on, I don't want to make the video too long. I want to talk about Bob Dylan. Of course, you gotta have Bob. I mean, Bob changed the way you wrote music. I mean, he went beyond the formats that maybe was known at that time. So you have to add Bob Dylan is one of the greatest uh, songwriters ever. I mean, and he's still doing it. I mean, a song from his latest record is on my list because I just felt it was beautiful. There are a lot of songs you can say. I mean, so it's hard to pick just five, but I'm gonna mention some of them, not necessarily. I mean, Mississippi from the Love and Theft album is one of my favorite songs ever. I love it. I love how he, just keeps going from word for word, and it just gets better and better. Tangled Up in Blue, Changing of the Guards. It's one of my favorites. I don't understand it. I can't tell you what's it about, but I just love it. Mother of Muses from his latest record, and Chimes of Freedom has always been one of my favorites. But of course, I mean, times they are changing. Mr. Tambourine Man, that's just endless songs you can say. And number one, it's a team. I know at some point they stopped being a team, but I'm gonna put them together. It's John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and not because they're tied in any way, just because well, maybe they're tied. I think they complemented well each other because Paul is a great pop songwriter and hit maker, and John could write such deep music, deep songs, and I think it's them together what made them great. I mean, this is so little you can say, but I'm gonna say when it comes to John Lennon, I mean, Strawberry Fields, Across the Universe, Nowhere Man, Imagine, I Love Starting Over, Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out, which is a album track. And what I love most about Lennon is that he wrote, and didn't like that, but I enjoy the fact that he wrote about his life. I mean, I read people were angry at Double Fantasy because he was too domestically blissed, but that's where he was. What's wrong with that? So when it comes to Paul, I love that he could write any pop song. He is a true talent. There's no denying that. When it goes to McCartney, I can only think of Let It Be, Yesterday, Hey Jude, uh, Mull of Kintyre, Ever Present Past, which is a recent track, My Love. Uh, Some People Never Know from the Wings Wildlife record. It's a great lyrics. Great lyrics on that one. So there's a lot of songs that we could mention about all these artists, but I can't go through them all. So I just mentioned the first ones that I remembered. So some cases those are the ones that I like the most. But so I invite you to, if you want to share in the comments, at least on YouTube, um, the ones your favorite songwriters. Go ahead and we can just and remember this is not a list where you can say that because I'm not saying this is the ultimate list. This is my list. These are my people. Let's just say it like that. So please don't comment saying that my list sucks. It's just because it's just my. It's not. I'm not saying these guys are the greatest of all time. I'm just saying they are my favorite. So anyway, I want to wish you a great day if you at any time you see the video, and see you next time.